Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by my channel. I know I haven't made a video in a while, but we've just been super busy and life has been crazy. But I thought I would take the chance to hop on and tell you a little bit about what it is like to go to Disney World right now in 2021. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future videos, because that just helps my channel to grow. And I would greatly appreciate that. So I decided to take my kids to Disney. We went January 14th and we stayed for 5 nights and we had a great time. It was awesome. For anybody out there who has heard or who feels like it is not going to be the same, it is not going to be magical, it's just not true, okay? The experience, yes, is different than it was before, but it is still magical, guys. We had the best time going to Disney, and I'm going to tell you why I decided to take my kids to Disney and kind of what we did to prepare and what you can expect if you want to go or if you have a trip planned that is coming up. First, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Delicious. Oh, my Tinkerbell cup too. If you guys have the chance to go to Joffrey's at Disney, which is their coffee store, you need to do that. Their coffee is like the best. I think there wasn't a day that I didn't go without a Joffrey's coffee. And what's cool is that they, each kind of like location has a different specialty coffee and they're all so good. If you are lucky enough to stay at one of the resorts that uses the Skyliner, there's actually a Joffrey's at the Skyliner right by the Caribbean resort, and they have, it's a special like Skyliner coffee. I think I'll put it up here, but I think it's like the Toffee Flight coffee or something. It's so good. So anyway, my kids had a 4-day weekend coming up in January, and I have been taking a lot of online classes. My kids are going to public school full-time, 5 days a week. We live in Florida, so we do have the option of homeschooling or doing virtual, but we just felt like it was best for us and best for our children if they go to school. So we also had a move. We moved to Florida in July, so we've just had a lot going on in our lives. And with everything going on, you know, you're just a little bit more cooped up, and I just felt like I needed to get away for a little while. And I really wanted to go someplace that I felt was safe or safer. And I did a lot of research before I went, and so many people that have gone to Disney, I had heard, felt like it was, or they felt safer going to Disney than they did shopping in their local grocery store. There were just so many things that I felt like Disney had in place to assure the safety of their guests. And of course, if you go anywhere, you're taking a risk to get any kind of sickness. Like I said, my kids go to public school, so I can't tell you how many of their friends or like neighbor kids have been quarantined because they came into somebody who came in contact. Or, you know, I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, you can get sick wherever you go. Now, some of the precautions that Disney has taken, they literally have hand sanitizing stations everywhere. Before you get on the ride, throughout the line of the ride, after the ride. They have throughout the park, they've put up these little like foot pedal hand washing stations where you can wash your hands with soap. So that's number one. There's lots of hand sanitizer, lots of soap. The second thing is they do require you to wear a mask. And if you want to know if they enforce it, yes, they definitely enforce it. If any cast member, from somebody who is just doing like custodial work, to somebody who's working in the gift stores, to ride operators, if your mask is not on correctly, and by correctly I mean covering your nose and covering your chin, they will politely ask you to fix your mask and put it on correctly. There's actually a funny story about this. We were in Hollywood Studios, and my two older children were riding a ride, and I had my toddler in the stroller, and I had to change her. So because she was in the stroller, I went into the companion bathroom. And while I was in the bathroom, you know, it's like a private bathroom. So I took my mask off, and like obviously I didn't want to put it on the sink or the floor. I stuck it in my purse so that when I was changing her, she wouldn't reach up and pull it off my face. So anyway, I changed her, we did the whole thing and wash our hands, whatever, we leave the bathroom, and I go back to wait for my two older children. Now, like I said, you have these masks on no matter where you are on Disney property. So it's like a second skin. So I'm walking back to where my kids are, and there was this worker, this cast member, who was outside of one of the restaurants, and she said, "Oh ma'am, do you have a face covering?" And I literally was like, oh my gosh, like I felt like I was missing my clothing. You're just so used to having it on. I totally forgot when I walked out of the bathroom to grab it out of my purse and put it on. Like it was just there. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Of course I do." And we laughed about it, and she was really nice and sweet. And of course they put it right back on. But yes, they do require that mask. They also require it for children ages 2 and up. They are, you know, lenient with really little ones. I did have cast members stop me a couple times to ask me how old my toddler was. But yeah, so they do require the masks. The third thing is they're very into social distancing. Like, I am glad for the person, and sorry also for the people or person, team of people who had to go throughout Disney and put up the markers that are on the ground to label 6 feet apart. Every ride, every attraction, every piece of transportation has these markings on the ground that tell you exactly where to stand so that you are 6 feet apart from the people in front of you. And what they've also done with this is some of the restaurants are still not open. So for example, Columbia Harbor House, which is in Liberty Square, is not currently open, but it kind of is open. So what I mean by that is the restaurant itself is not open to serving food. However, it's right next door to the back end of the Peter Pan ride. So what they've done to make space for the ride line is the line is going through the Columbia Harbor House with the markings of 6 feet apart. So they've done this in several places, and they've just gotten really creative about how they've extended the lines to help you be socially distanced. Some of the lines go like behind rides or behind store centers. But it's just really unique and creative how they have done this to, you know, help with social distancing. Another thing that they have done is on rides like the land ride, they have put plastic shields up. So when you're sitting on the bench, you and just your party alone, you get onto the bench, and then there is a plastic shield in the front and then a plastic shield in the back, so that you're like separated from the people or group in front of you and behind you. And they're clear, and the ride is still totally enjoyable. Fantastic idea on their end. When we went, they were not doing, excuse me, any live shows at the time. So at Animal Kingdom, the Lion King show, the Finding Nemo show, the Pet show, they were not operating at the time. Now, I have heard that they are, or have already started opening those live shows. Now, we did go to, when we were in Epcot in the France Pavilion, they did have the Beauty and the Beast sing-along open. And so I was curious, like, how that was going to work. But what they actually did was they only allow a certain amount of people into the lobby at a time, and they have like these green squares, or excuse me, circles on the floor. Your party stands on the green circle. They're all, again, socially distanced. When you go in, and it's a pretty, like, they have got it down, okay? This is Disney. They know what they are doing. The ushers will escort you in. They ask you how many is in your party, and they will tell you where to sit. And the next party, I would have to say, was at least 10 seats away from the party, and you know, that went ahead of you. And so I'm imagining that that's how they're going to work it for the live shows as well, that they're just going to limit the amount of people who go in, and that they're just going to really separate everybody out. So that was definitely another great thing that they're doing. Let me think. Let me pause for 1 second. Okay, so another thing about the masks. The only time you are allowed to remove your mask is if you are sitting in a stationary position, eating or drinking. So they don't allow you to walk through the park and be sipping on food or eating your popcorn. You have to be sitting down eating. Now, this can be, you know, in a spot on the ground that you find. This can be at a table, at a restaurant, but you do have to be sitting and stationary in order to remove your face covering. One of the things that I did, now you don't have to do this, you can just get disposable masks or whatever mask, but just for an extra element of fun, I got some plain masks, and I went ahead and used my Cricut to put some cute little designs. So this was one that we used for the Magic Kingdom, and personally I just thought it would be best to have a separate mask for each day. That way I didn't have to deal with washing them. And like I said, yes, we could have gotten disposable, but this was just like a little extra element of fun. This is the one that we used for Hollywood Studios. I did a Figment one for Epcot, and a kind of black and white leopard print mini, and my son had Mickey for Animal Kingdom. So that is something that we did, and all 4 of us had those masks for every day, and then I had some extras as well. Another thing that I really liked was that we stayed at a Disney resort. I'm not sure how hotels are right now as far as being like sanitary and all of that, but I know that Disney is staying super on top of, you know, making sure that their rooms are like extra clean. The remote control is sanitized, packaged in plastic. In the shower, all the shampoos, conditioners, body lotions, they're all super sanitized. They also have plastic on them. and they're just taking like extra precautions. And since we are Florida residents, we did get a discount, and so we actually wound up staying at the Art of Animation in the Little Mermaid room, which I love to stay there anyway, because they do have that Skyliner service for you as well as bus service. Now, what I was gonna say is that if you do stay at a Disney resort, it is all contactless entry into your room. And by contactless, I mean you don't have to go to the lobby to to get into your hotel room or to check in. If you download the My Disney Experience app, you can check in over your phone, and it will even send you a code. If you don't have a Magic Band, you can open the door to your room with your phone. That's pretty cool. Now, they are, speaking of Magic Bands, they're not giving these out free at the resorts anymore. If you want a Magic Band, you do have to purchase one. So somebody that I know is planning a trip in May, and they were asking, so like, what about the Magic Bands? Are they like, do you think yes to the Magic Band? Do you think no to the Magic Band? How do you feel? Now, for me personally, I love the Magic Band. Do my kids need the Magic Band? Not really. At this point, they're still not doing fast passes, so it's not like you need it to get the fast pass. But since they are connected to your credit card, that it is convenient to pay that way. So for paying purposes, for getting into the park, getting into your hotel room, I would say at least maybe one member of your party should have a Magic Band. Everyone else, you know, it's up to you if you want to spend the money on getting those Magic Bands. And I think that they're also good, I want to say, for 3 years. So I had one from our last trip, and it was totally good to use for this trip as well. Another thing that I did before we went to kind of like ensure our own safety, like on our end, was we did start upping our vitamin intake. We normally always take multivitamins, every single one of us. We each have our own like set of multivitamins that we take, but a week prior to going, we also all took a vitamin C with zinc, and I started taking an extra D3. And we did that a week before the trip. We did it all throughout the trip and continued on doing that after the trip, just to make sure that our immunity was boosted. We made sure that we drank plenty of water and also got a lot of rest, which isn't hard to do right now because the parks are not staying open as long as they were in the past, because they're not doing any of the nighttime fireworks shows or Phantasmic or anything like that. So the parks are closing earlier, and they're also opening a little bit later as well. Like when we went, Epcot didn't even open until 11 o'clock in the morning. And then I think they stayed open the latest. I think they closed at maybe 8, maybe 9. I can't remember, but it wasn't like crazy late. So yeah, just getting a lot of rest, taking vitamins, wearing your mask, and then just doing all the hand washing things, you know, just really helped us out. And we did not have any issues with anything like, you know, getting sick or anything while we were there. So speaking of staying at a Disney resort, if you've ever stayed at a Disney resort before and you got one of these and you still have them, bring them back with you. You don't have to purchase new ones. I think they're $20 a piece. They're not doing dining plans right now. That's something that they still haven't brought back yet, but they definitely are honoring the free refills at the resort. So, you know, when we would wake up in the morning, I would fill up on coffee. The kids would get you know, whatever juice or, you know, hot chocolate or whatever they wanted, it was free. Also, if you have a cup that's like broken or something like that, like we had one of our cups was missing the lid, just tell one of the cast members that you lost the lid, and they'll actually, so the lid, we didn't have the lid. I told the cast member we don't have the lid. They just took the old cup back and they gave me a brand new cup for no fee at all. So that's another thing. If you know, it's just kind of like a little money saving tip. And if you have them, you use them, because I mean, just drinks alone can kind of like add up. And speaking of food, they are doing mostly online food orders, so, or mobile food orders. So you just take out your cell phone, you don't go up to the counter, you take out your cell phone, you pick which park you're at, you pick which restaurant, kiosk, quick service you want to eat at, you pull up the menu, you order the food. Everything is connected to your credit card, so you just tap pay and it will let you know when your food is ready. When your food is ready, it'll tell you what window to go up to, and there's no line. Like, I actually loved this feature as far as us getting our food, because there was no one like breathing down your neck behind you. I thought this was great. And it's something that I wouldn't mind Disney keeping. I would not mind Disney keeping the mobile food ordering. And I also wouldn't mind, like, if they've already got the hand sanitizing stations up, leave them up. If you think about it, I mean, I never really thought about it before, but just any theme park that you go to, like, just think about how many things you touch, like, or your kids touch, like all the rails and the chains and doors and this and that. Like, it's just kind of nice. Like, if you want to use it, you know, but I would say leave it. The other thing that I really liked was Disney's not doing parades right now because they don't want people gathering in large quantities. But they are doing what they're calling cavalcades. So these cavalcades they're not announced. They are not on any schedule. They are not on any map schedule that you get when you enter the park, okay? They just kind of pop up. So if you're lucky enough to catch one, you can still see some of the characters. And most of the cavalcades are having maybe like 3 or 4 floats or a group of characters just walking. We saw one with Merida. She was riding on her horse. And then there was a float with Tiana and Rapunzel. And then behind them was another float with some of the princesses and I believe the fairy godmother. Later on, this was at Magic Kingdom also. And later on that day at Magic Kingdom, there was another cavalcade that we got to see with Gaston riding on the horse. And then there was a float with Peter Pan, Tigger, Mary Poppins, and Aladdin. And I think that was it. I can post some of the pictures up here. Epcot had a little cavalcade, with this beautiful carriage with the princesses in it. And later in the day, we also got to see Mickey and Minnie driving by. Then Animal Kingdom does them on the lake. So they kind of have like a float go by. We got to see Pocahontas there, Mickey and Minnie. Let's see. Donald and Daisy. And I don't know his name, but I think he is from DuckTales. I think he's one of the DuckTales characters. So that was pretty cool. We also, at Hollywood Studios, they had a little drive-by parade with some of the Disney Junior characters. So my toddler was like super excited. She got to see Doc McStuffins, Vampirina, I think Roadster Racer Mickey, and that might have been it. I'm not sure. So that was super exciting too. And The other show that they're also doing, they are still sort of doing the Disney Live, the Disney Junior Live show. It's just that it is controlled as far as how many people go in. And again, they have those green spots on the floor that are all like very socially distanced. It's a smaller show, but they had Timon, Vampirina, Doc McStuffins, and Mickey Mouse from Mickey's Roaster Research. That was pretty cool. And going back to the cavalcades, I'm a fan of those as well, like a big fan, because if any of you have ever been to Disney, the parades are just, they're amazing. Do not get me wrong. Disney, I love a good Disney parade, but I think I could do without the parades. These little cavalcades are so nice because if you've, like I said, been to Disney, when they do a full Disney parade, first of all, they come before the parade even starts and they start making you move off of the sidewalk and they rope off the streets. Once this happens, you're not really allowed to cross. Certainly you're not allowed to cross once the parade starts. So hundreds, maybe thousands of people are lined up and gathered to watch a parade. And maybe you don't want to watch the parade. Maybe at this time you want to take the chance to ride a ride, but you can't like get anywhere because either you're blocked off, you can't cross the road, there's so many crowds of people. If you have a stroller, if you have somebody in a wheelchair, it's like nearly impossible to get by. These cavalcades are fantastic. You still get to see the characters. They're great, but you know what? They come and they go and they're done, and it's so fantastic. There's no roping off, there's no huge gatherings, there's no people pushing you. They were like a dream. I really liked them. So keep the cavalcades. Now, I'm not saying if there's like a special event like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, yeah, I think that the parade is part of that. Like that should have the parade. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party should have the parade. Easter, okay, you can have the parade. But other than that, like all the ones like that are just during the day, like, you know, I don't know. I'm good without them. I think that the cavalcades were really great and so much better. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I can share with you. I mean, overall, we had like a fantastic time. I would definitely recommend going. Use your own judgment. You know, there were so many people that I know that were like, oh my God, that's awesome. Have a great time, all this stuff. There were a few people who did not agree with us going, did not feel that we should be taking extra risks. But you know what, at the end of the day, I felt like it was an okay choice for our family. And so we went and we had a very, very good time. It was magical. It was fun. It was just perfect. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below and I will answer them as best as I can. Remember, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, okay? And as always, stay safe and be kind, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.